All right, a little bit of a different video today. I know I normally do just like update videos of my business, stuff like that, but I kind of discovered a tool which is just kind of insane, and I felt like it would be wrong not to share it because this is something I've been struggling with so much, and I have found what I think is a foolproof solution to completely get rid of it. And in this case, it's using AI to help me get rid of my brain fog. Now, and that's okay. So I learned that brain fog comes from just, like basically not having a routine, not hydrating enough. There's a lot of things, and I've asked mentors and friends in business like, how did you do that? Like, how do you get rid of it? And they would say things like, oh, just drink a lot of water and whatever, whatever. And sure, that works. It's great. It helps, but that doesn't solve the core issue, right? And today it's day three of this almost like AI guided plan. And as you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on here. But essentially, I'm just going to scroll all the way up. There's a lot to scroll, but like this is basically the message I sent. And I explained my situation, what my goals are, what I'm struggling with, everything like that. And then I basically asked it to create a plan for me to completely get rid of my brain fog. So, because I got to thinking, like, I am learning to perform at a high level, even when I have this kind of disadvantage, is what I kind of call it to myself, of I can't think as well because of this brain fog, and it in turn causes the quality of my work and me on the phone and my cognitive state not to be as clear as it possibly could be. And I have found ways to push through that and still do good quality work. Now, the way I see this is if I can get rid of it, if I'm this good at this, specific variety of things with this handicap, if I get rid of the handicap, how much better can I be? And that's just kind of a way I've applied or I've been thinking about this. And now it's day three of following this routine. Even in like my calendar, I have spaced out time, have a big meal at this time, water, just reminders to do things. And that's kind of kept me on track because, I have like I use my Google Calendar my whole like all the time. Like my life runs on it pretty much. So yeah, so you can pause and read this. I'm not going to go through it, but like it essentially just gave me everything I needed to know, right? And because AI can access any data on the internet, or I guess a majority of it, it basically knows everything. And this is saving me so much time in research, watching YouTube videos, gurus, things like that, right? And I can even question some of the information it says. So then, like, I basically asked in this first message, what else do you need to know from me so that I can give you all the context you need to do your job well? And then it gave me like this long list of like basically asked me things that I do on a normal basis. I explained all of this stuff. I know my spelling kind of sucks. I didn't really care. It can figure it out. Um, and then it basically just put together this plan of, and it explains everything so well. It explains why you're feeling groggy at this time, what the natural process is, how your body responds to specific things. And it's so, like, if you really take the time to read through all of this stuff, you're really going to learn so much about it. And now, pretty much all I do is, like, I was like, okay, I forget things, and then it basically helped me come up with the plan to put in my calendar so I don't forget things. And I basically just do these check ins every, I don't know, like 4 or 5 hours. I'm just like, hey man, it's 12 o'clock right now, and I'm feeling a bit groggy, a bit tired. I had a little caffeine an hour ago. Maybe that's the problem. And then it goes, all right, cool. Just eat some steak, something high in protein. And I also told her I have a pizza coming because my dad ordered one. And I basically just said, yeah, that's going to be a good source of carbs. And then it said balance that out. So you'll have the steak, let the protein digest, and then have some carbs so that you have an energy boost, but not too much, And it basically just gives you a super good overview of it all. Now, let me spend like 5 minutes scrolling all the way down through this thing. Keep in mind, this is only 3 days worth of back and forth. And there's so much information here, right? And the reason I'm showing you this is because this is changing everything for me in terms of not just this particular situation of I actually know how to fix my brain fog, and it has been getting better. Like I feel like I can actually speak better. I can like think easier, right? I remember it got so bad at one point where like I was talking to a person, like I was directly in front of someone talking to them, and I couldn't understand half the things they were saying just because of how bad that was, just because of how much effort it took to comprehend what they were saying. And now that's just completely gone, or at least mostly gone. And day three, of course, it's not gone. There's still like a light kind of brain fog. As the AI says, it's my body adjusting to the new schedule, the new routine, because there's an actual routine, right? And that adds up. It builds a structure, and your body gets used to it, right? And as the days go on, it's going to continue to lessen because brain fog is a signal from your body, right? Something's not right, and it's trying to tell you something, and you just have to know how to listen. You just have to know what to look for, and that's what this helped me with. And like you can read this if you want. It's basically just me explaining my kind of situation, things that are going on, and then it gives me all of this information. And like here, we're ordering pizza soon, so it'll be good carbs, but I can cook a steak right now. After it kind of told me all of this stuff, so basically what I just told you, and it just gives me options, tells me the pros and cons of everything, and like you don't even have to read all this. You can read this, have an idea of what it's going to say. If it's not relevant, just move on. And like this has been a game changer. So like the reason I'm also pointing this out is because I figured out you can also like go, let's say you, so for me, I run a content business, right? It's all structured around, scripts and the way you talk, the way you present information, the styles of video, things like that. And I'm really diving into how do we make the best quality scripts that are also super easy to record and are super natural and, really easy to like do on scale, right? And kind of like completely overhauling the entire system we have built for a couple of my clients. And funny enough, this AI thing is probably the best tool I have because I've essentially taken a like video that has a really good structure and plan built out already, and I was just like, hey, so I basically just sent it a transcript, and then I explained what its job is. You're supposed to read through all this information, apply this, kind of like script structure to video ideas that give. So then I post a video idea, and then I also give a description of what the video type is like. Is it a top three things video? Is it a you're missing this one major thing video? Is it a personal experience video? Is it a client review video? Whatever, whatever. And then it kind of formulates this thing based off of that data where it already has the structure, and then it has the script, it has context as to what's going on, and it already knows my client's information. It knows what kind of channel it has. It knows the type of videos he's posting. It knows all of this information. And then it can just build around that, right? It's like having a second brain that's completely on autopilot and, can take in 100 variables at the same time. And of course, there's fine tuning that needs to be done, but I would feel selfish to keep this to myself, because you can apply this for the gym. You can apply this for homework. How do I like let's say I wanted to get really really like locked in on the perfect diet, the perfect workout schedule, everything. I find a YouTuber that has a really good way of explaining it. Maybe you don't fully understand some of the things. You transcribe that video with a free transcribing thing online. You upload that data and you say, I like how this sounds. Now help me make manageable steps. Here's where I'm at right now, my weight, my goal. I just started working out, whatever. And then you give it so much information that it can't be wrong because it's essentially you're telling it all about you so that it's like going to your friend who has so much more experience asking, hey man, what do you recommend for this? Except this friend is always available and he has all of the information, right? Um, and I don't know, it's just so exciting because I have the premium ChatGPT. It's only like $20 a month, but the utility I've managed to get from it is insane. And like the thing is, it's such a game changer if you know how to use it. And I'm gonna be honest, until a couple of days ago, I didn't really know how to use it. I was kind of just using it for generic things. And now I really see the way I can just leverage this to get the most possible kind of like outcome for myself, both in health, in client kind of stuff. Because I used to try to script videos myself, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm not that good at it because I'm dyslexic, right? And as you can imagine, that takes a long time. Some of the things I wrote didn't make sense because it did make sense in my head, but didn't on paper, And there's just so many things like that you run into. And at the end of the day, it really just depends on what your needs are. Like, I'm not saying you should buy, the special ChatGPT or whatever. Like, you could do this with a normal account. Just upload a transcript of a video. Hey, your job is to keep me on track for this goal, give me some advice, information, and then just throughout the day, just go, hey man, it's 12 o'clock right now. I feel kind of this way. This is the situation. Should I go work out now or should I work out in the afternoon? Or, and then it can really give you the best information and based on what you're doing now, right? And I know AI does come up with some things. I know it also like sometimes just makes things up, which is why sometimes like if it doesn't make sense, like if it's not like okay that makes sense with what you've told me before, if the pieces don't add up, cross-reference it, Google it, search up from a different AI, make a new chat, and just to ask about that little thing. And then you can go back to this chat and say, hey man, I looked into it and it looks like maybe you got something wrong. This is what I meant, or can you kind of dive deeper onto this, whatever. And then it will go, oh yeah, you're right, and then fix itself, right? Now, of course, you have to be vigilant. You can't just become a keyboard warrior and all your problems are solved, right? Um, but like that, I don't know. It's just so crazy how like something like this, something so simple that you could just think of at the snap of a finger is so helpful because this is something that if you implement or if I'm gonna sure as hell implement it, like I'm gonna make an AI that's there with I'm gonna transcribe videos of I ran across an Alex Becker video I listened to from like 5 years ago. I don't know what the fuck he posts now. It's just random crypto bullshit, but like I came across one of his videos today where he was explaining how like dopamine works, right? The whole structure of it, of the premise of, the rat in the experimentation lab where they had a button, the rat pressed the button, he gets dopamine essentially. Of course, there's more there, but I'm just going to paraphrase. Um, and then, like, they put basically just like an electric field on the floor to get to that button and like food over here or something like that. And the rat would always go through pain to get that little amount of dopamine because there is no logic. It doesn't have context. It's just going for it, right? And if you are always in this dopamine cycle, everything else becomes irrelevant. You don't care because your mind doesn't want context. It wants the result. It wants the pleasure. It wants whatever, right? And if you manage to either keep that at a very minimal amount or just completely cut it out where you're like, no, I'm going to take control of this and I'm not going to have these particular things that make my quality of work worse. Because if you do something like a dopamine detox or whatever, like you will simply not find those things fun anymore. And you're essentially replacing the fun things with achievement, right? Like I achieved something by coming up with this strategy. This thing is going to make my life better because and I feel good about it, right? Then I only want to do more with it. I want to make another bot. I want to see what I want to push this thing to its limits. I want to see what it's capable of. And I want to capitalize as much as I can on it. And this goes the same thing with my business, right? Like I closed a guy yesterday, I closed a guy today, like I'm closing people, of course not for my business. I'm not scaling it yet. I'm learning sales with a mentor. So I'm kind of working for his company right now, but same thing. I'm working on improving my sales ability, my ability to speak with people on the phone, relatability. Like I 2 months, 3 months ago, I wouldn't be able to speak this cohesively in this thing right now. I'm going to post this without any cuts. If I made a mess up, you would know about it, right? And that's kind of the whole thing that allows me to do that because I have worked through this and I have improved my social skills to the point where I can actually do stuff like this, where I'm not going to have to spend an hour editing this video, Of course, it wouldn't take that long, but uploading, exporting, all that shit takes so much time. Um, but like overall, like I'm gonna apply this thing to other parts of my life, right? How do I stay on track with this dopamine? Kind of a bot that understands dopamine, understands like all of these structures, how the psychology works of it, and keep in mind, like your brain knows how to negotiate with you because it's you, right? It's like having a clone of yourself and trying to tell your clone something. Well, your clone's the same person as you, so anything you tell it, you'll know exactly how to do it in a way that actually convinces them to do whatever you want them to do, right? And that's kind of the same concept. It's like your own brain is like tugging this rope that it already has this information about you, and it's just going to keep leveraging that to, get dopamine, pleasure, whatever the fuck. And that's kind of the entire premise of this. So, like, I'm already coming up with so many things I can do this with. I could even do this in the gym, right? I already have a good workout schedule. I work out 3 times a week, which now I'm kind of bulking. I'm more bulk focusing rather than trying to, like, steadily improve my workouts in terms of intensity, things like that. But I'm trying to bulk more right now to put on weight and then actually push my muscle to actually grow more. But that can be applied the same thing. Maybe I can make a bot, give it a bunch of information I trust from people I trust, and then say based on this information and other information on the internet, is that a good idea for me based on my situation? I'm this way. I work out this many times, whatever. I just don't see how it could, you know, like be a something that's not worth it, right? Because if you have that leverage, if you have that ability to just essentially get any information about a specific topic that is already applied to your specific needs, I just don't see how you wouldn't leverage that. Like if you were if I were you watching this video, I would do this right now. And even if you made it this far, like holy, your attention span needs a gold medal or something. But yeah, that's just how it works. And I'm gonna stop rambling before this video turns into a half-hour lecture. Um, but yeah, that's really all I have, and we can kind of go off of that. No, I am gonna have to edit because I want to blur that stuff out, but that doesn't really matter. But yeah, that's all. Um, and I don't know. I just wanted to make this video because I think it's really valuable. It's something that's certainly gonna make my life easier. But yeah, hope you got something from this video at least, even if you made it this far, which I doubt. Like 99% of you probably didn't. But yeah, farewell, and I hope you have a good day. Do something productive.